This is Radio Watford. You're listening to Watford's finest, Pete Gibbons.
Well, that was Scanning for Girls there with Count on Me. You certainly can count on me for the next 2 hours at least. Then it's all downhill from there with Dave Finchley on at 5, so enjoy that. Anyway, hello, welcome back to the Pete Gibbons Show with me, Pete Gibbons, aka the Rave Master. You're listening to Radio Watford. Some exciting new features coming up later on in the show, but first, let's kick things off with the return of a very popular game. Last week, it took the airways by storm and captured the imagination of a nation. It's Meal Deal Dictators. Yes. And this week we're asking, what would Kim Jong-un have in his meal deal? Philip from Bumswell has emailed in to say he reckons Kimmy would get a roast chicken, bacon and stuffing sandwich because he looks like a man that enjoys a bit of meat. Ooh, steady on. For the snack, he's going for popcorn. That's a good shout. People who get popcorn with the meal deals are usually nutters, and in this case, murderers. And for the drink, Philip says a naked smoothie. No. I highly doubt nakedness is welcome in North Korea, Phil. Please do think these through, folks. Try and get into the mind of a dictator. It's pretty simple. If you were a murderous tyrant, what would you be guzzling down on for your lunch? Sue from Thongleton agrees that Kim Jong-un would go for the chicken, bacon and stuffing sandwich, but she's then scrapped the popcorn in favour of a bag of Maltesers. She's gone for a king-size packet for King Kim. Doesn't actually work, so he's not a king, he's technically a supreme leader. So if you're going to call in, please make sure you're familiar with the hierarchical system within North Korea. Anyway, for the drink you've said full fat Coke, obviously. Ooh, and I thought fat shaming was a thing of the past. Careful, Sue, you get punished for saying stuff like that in North Korea. Last thing we need is you getting beheaded. So, final one. Sean from Leicester says sushi, and that's not a race thing. I wouldn't allow that on this show. Dave Finchley might, but not me. Sushi's actually a great shout. A real favourite of top North Korean officials. Nothing like raw fish and rice to get those taste buds tingling. He then says Monster Munch with a Monster energy drink, because Kimmy is a monster. Very witty, Sean. Okay, next week on Meal Deal Dictators, we'll be asking, what would Joseph Stalin have in his meal deal? Good old Jojo. But for now, let's play a little tune from U2. It's Beautiful Day. Enjoy. That was U2 there with Beautiful Day. Unfortunately, it's not a beautiful day. It's actually quite a gloomy one. Not a great day for a funeral. I'm Pete Gibbons, and you're listening to The Pete Gibbons Show live on Radio Watford. Speaking of funerals, I was meant to tell you this at the start of the show, but I forgot. Silly me. I have to bring you some very sad news. Maddie, a now former DJ here at Radio Watford, who had been very sick over recent weeks, has unfortunately been confirmed dead. Now, I'm truly devastated, as you can imagine. My thoughts go out to her friends and family, etc, etc. But if there's something positive that we can take from this, which I think there is, it's that, I don't know how to say this, but her primetime morning show is now up for grabs. And in all honesty, it was getting a bit lifeless in the first place. And so now seems like the perfect time for a little revamp. So, get a new face in, is all I'm saying. And I'm already starting to hear whispers that Dave Finchley is already eyeing up the role, but I just think that's very insensitive at such a difficult time. I'm grieving, even if he isn't. So, just a quick reminder to those that will be tasked with replacing her. I was the one that filled in her slot when she was ill, so if you're basing the decision purely on experience, which you should, then suddenly it becomes a one-horse race. So, all I'm saying is, I would slot into that show like nothing even happened. And I think if she was here now, she'd agree as well. And that's all I'll say on it. Okay, so hashtag RIP Maddie. You will be greatly missed. Anyway, some equally sad news to bring you. We have unfortunately had to scrap last week's feature, Friday Funeral Favourites, because a few people in the office said it'd be a bit insensitive considering, Maddie's funeral today. Whatever. It's a shame because it was going down a storm, to be honest with you. But don't worry, kids. We do have Pedo or Pino making a return this week after record phone-ins last week. Admittedly, most of those were complaints, but as I always say, phone-ins are phone-ins. So let's play Pedo or Pino.
Oh yeah.
Okay, play the intro. Okay, first up we've got Ted from Bunley. George Bush Sr. Pedo or Pino?
Pedo.
Unfortunately, that is the incorrect answer, Ted. You've got your pedos and pervs mixed up there, mate. Better luck next time. Donna from Doncaster. Gwyneth Paltrow. Pedo or Pino?
Pino.
That's the correct answer. Gwyneth smells like my vagina candle might sound devious, but as far as we know, she's never gifted it to a child, making her a Pino. And finally, we've got Scott from Scotland. Jimmy Savile. Pedo or Pino?
Well, that's a bit easy.
Don't get annoyed, Scott. I need an answer.
Pedo.
Scott's saying pedo, and that's the correct answer. Well done, Scott. Someone's been keeping a keen interest in the pedo world. Congratulations, my friend. You win absolutely nothing. Big thanks to everyone calling in and playing pedo or pino this week. Remember, standard network charges will apply. Actually, probably should have told you that before calling in, but hey ho. Anyway, I very much look forward to that returning on next week's show. Now it's time for a little tune to keep those spirits high. Here's Gareth Gates with Spirits in the Sky. Enjoy. Go to the place that's the best. Oh, we're live. That's Gareth Gates with Spirits in the Sky. My spirits are in the sky after that absolute banger. A great funeral song, actually, as well. Now on to the next feature of the show. It's Room 101. This is the part of the show where I have the opportunity to get rid of 3 things into Room 101 that we will never hear about ever again. And I will, of course, be reading out your suggestions on the email at the end. Okay, first up into Room 101, I'm going to put the camel. Now, to be honest with you, they're not causing me too many problems where I am. You know, there's not that many wandering around Watford, to be honest, but I'm still surprised they've not become extinct yet, because cars have very much replaced the camel, and so there's no reason to have them. Let's have a clear out. Next time there's a flood and Noah starts building an ark, don't bother bringing them along. Just, no, leave them, because we don't need them, alright? Stick a few more cows on there instead. Pointless. Okay, next up into Room 101 is Sir Isaac Newton. Gets way too much credit, in my opinion. He spent most of his time lounging about under an apple tree when he should have been working. You know, if he had spent more time on his calculator, then he might have come up with more than just the gravity stuff. You know, it's like, oh, well done, you've discovered gravity. It's been knocking around ages, mate. So, not exactly impressive, is it? And that's why Isaac Newton goes into Room 101, along with the camel. And finally, the last thing I'm putting into Room 101 is Viennetta. Stupid dessert. It's just vanilla ice cream with a disappointing amount of chocolate in it. Absolutely pointless. Either cram it with chocolate or just leave it plain. Don't tease the chocolate. It's like someone made vanilla ice cream and forgot to put chocolate in it and then panicked and started sprinkling a bit on top. It's just, don't bother. God, it's stupid. Should have died out with the camel a long time ago. Get rid. Anyway, let's take a look at your suggestions. Lots of people wanting to get rid of war, famine, poverty. Phil's put his wife. At least you've got one, mate. A couple of you have said me, but I'm not sure you fully grasped the concept of the game. It's things that you don't like that you put into Room 101, but thanks for playing along anyway. Right, now time for another song. Get ready to go absolutely mental. It's the lads from Coldplay with Paradise. Enjoy. That was Coldplay with Paradise, and that reminded me actually of a story I read online the other day about a family of 4 murdered to death while on holiday in the Caribbean. Tragic for their family, what's left of it. And that got me thinking about what it must be like to die in paradise. You know, it can't be too bad, can it? Better than dying on the toilet, at least. Just look at Elvis. You know, I'm sure he'd rather have died sat on a lilo than with his trousers round his ankles. So, anyway, let me know where you'd like to die by emailing in at petegibbo007@radiowatford.co.uk, and I'll read some of those out at the end of the show. Okay, now on to a new feature this week. Let's play Celebrity. Oh, indeed. The aim of the game is I name the celebrity and you name their tea of choice, hence Celebrity. Oh, I came up with that one. So I can see it maybe in a few years' time, ITV2, something like that, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, let's go on with the game. Up first, we've got Angie from Hull. I'm going to throw at you Rihanna. Can you name the celebrity?
Tetley?
Wow, that's the correct answer. How many sugars?
2?
Wrong, 0. She's sweet enough without them. Okay, up next, we got Andrew from York. Name the celebrity for Tommy Robinson.
Is it black?
No, definitely not. The correct answer was actually English breakfast tea.
That is a black tea.
Nah, not to Tommy, it's not. Okay, finally we got Julia on the line from Norwich. Julia, can you hear me?
Yes.
Wow, didn't realise they had phones in Norwich. Julia, I'm going to throw at you George Clooney. Not literally, although you wish.
I'm a lesbian.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, and good for you as well. Yeah, George is taken anyway, isn't he? So, okay, Julia, name the celebrity for George Clooney.
Espresso.
No, that's a coffee.
Frappuccino.
That's still a coffee. Okay, Julia, thanks for calling in. The answer we were looking for was, of course, PG Tips. Oh, monkey! Oh, we have a laugh, don't we? Right, that's everything for Celebrity this week. I'm sure we'll make a return on next week's show. Now it's time for another tune. I couldn't actually find a tea-related song, so unfortunately we'll have to make do with Coffee Bean by Travis Scott. Enjoy. Wow, well that was quite something, wasn't it? A song about the seeds of a tropical plant there. That was, of course, Sir Travis of the Scott with Coffee Bean. Very much my kind of vibe. The sort of song that makes you want to sit back and light a big one with the boys. Someone I wouldn't light one with is Dave Finchley. He, of course, will be taking over the reins at 5 p.m, and from what I'm hearing, listening figures will plummet. How tragic. Definitely don't put him in charge of the morning show. Disaster waiting to happen. Speaking of the morning show, and its now deceased host, I've noticed that some of you emailed in wondering why I'm not at Maddie's funeral today, and the answer to that is very simple. The show must go on. And if Maddie was here today, she'd say, Pete, the people need you. They love you. I love you. And, to that I would say, thanks, babes, but don't make this about me. It's about the listeners. And so I don't begrudge her parents for not inviting me today because they knew Maddie would rather I entertain the nation, and entertain I have. Okay, so to those of you that are sending me abuse, maybe abuse the parents instead. That's all. I'm just floating the idea out there, okay? That's just an idea. Right, as we get close to the end of the show, it's time to make a return to our emails. Earlier on in the show, I asked the question, where would you like to die? And we've had literally handfuls of emails flying in. One here from Frank from Dagenham. He said he'd like to die as soon as possible. Wow, okay. I admire the honesty, Frank. I think we all feel like that when Dave Finchley's about to come on air. My advice would be to listen to another station for an hour. I hear Charlie James is pretty good on Radio Wickham. 104.9 Radio Wickham. So maybe go check that out. Okay, Pete from Gloucester. Oh, from one Pete to another. Two Petes in a pod. Pete from Gloucester says he'd like to die from a sinking ship in the North Atlantic Ocean, surrounded by nothing but freezing cold water and icebergs. Wow. It's oddly specific. Each to their own, I guess. Thanks for that, Pete. Maybe stick a woolly jumper on, just to make it that little bit more bearable. Anyway, appreciate you sending those in. It's weird how Coldplay songs can inspire such profound thoughts on a Friday afternoon. But I guess that's what art does. And so, that is just about everything from me this week, folks. But don't you worry, I'll be back here, same time, same place, next week. Unless, of course, take over the morning show. But, for the few of you that do continue to listen now, you will have Dave Finchley's Friday show up next, where he'll be joined by special guest Noel Gallagher. Yeah, whatever. I had H from Steps on the other week, so, you didn't see me bragging about it though, did you? And he's past his best anyway, so I think I know which Gallagher I'd rather have on the show. But anyway, I'll wrap it up here. Until next time, I've been the Rave Master Pete Gibbons, you've been the people of Watford, and this is Liam Gallagher with Gone. I am gone. See you next week.